Two exciting times for the young farmers with their regional final, not the regional final, it's the national final.
Yeah, grand final in Taupo, not too far away, the 2nd to the 4th of July, it's all action now.
So you've got your 7 finalists, and we've interviewed them. We'll be trickle feeding them over the next few weeks.
Yeah, it's going to be exciting.
Pretty high standard.
Yeah, pretty delighted with the overall standard. We've got 3 out of the 7 have returned from previous years competing. You're only allowed 2 goes at grand final. Of course, if you win it on your first attempt, that's it for you. But we've got a real good combination of experienced and first timers.
So you can stand for the regionals as often as you want.
Yep, that's right.
To get into the grand final, two chances.
2 chances. Yep. Yep, just to ensure that everyone gets a go.
Young farmer stops at the age 30. That's pretty young.
Actually 31, and that's ridiculously young in my opinion. But yep, it's we want to make sure that we continue with that vibrancy and energy that youth provides.
And the other neat thing that I noticed talking to your 7 finalists was their wide range of knowledge, and if you're a dairy farmer you still know about everything else.
Yeah, have to, and that's the great thing about this competition, is that you've got to be an all-rounder. You've got to be an all-rounder in terms of strength, knowledge, ability, skills, and yes, if you're a dairy farmer you've got to know how to shear a sheep or any other kind of discipline that might come up in the final.
Because the other interesting thing was the number of these guys who said, I've got some very good friends that I spend a lot of time with and I'm interviewing them the whole time.
Yeah.
So, and I guess the internet helps.
Yeah, it sure does. And the whole mode of how we operate as an organisation's changed over the years too. You know, nothing's quite as insular as it used to be.
Majority of them said that they got into young farmers for the social side. They wanted to have a few beers and have a chat. That's very important as far as you're getting people to come in and join.
It's often the trigger. And people actually, you know, when you're 17, 18, 19, you're in your first job or you're in training, you actually don't realise the value of A, networking, B, leadership development opportunities and what that might do for your career. So you join because you actually want to hang out with people that think like you, that act like you, and you can have a great time.
Because you get pretty isolated if you're sitting on a farm and if you're from overseas, for example, you know those people you work with, but that's it.
Yeah, that's right, and that's why we've got clubs the length and breadth of the country. We've got 80 clubs approximately at the moment. We've still got gaps. We're pretty weak, for example, on the east coast of the North Island. But that's, you know, all those things are taking time to sort of fill out. We probably think to get good coverage across the country, probably need about 120, 130 clubs.
And what's involved with somebody who says, okay, there's no club in my area, what do I do to get one started?
Oh, that's quite simple. You can just go onto our website, which is www.youngfarmers.co.nz, and make contact with us. We've got field offices scattered around the country, so no one's too far away from actually setting up a meeting.
And what's it cost to join? Because that's another deterrent in some people when they're earning not much.
No, that's right. Our full membership is $70 a year, so it's pretty harmless. And what that gets you is a whole range of benefits, tangible benefits as a member, discounts here and there and some value, but also just that opportunity to compete in the contest, get some leadership experience and some governance experience and a whole lot of things to help you on your career.
JCs, I was a member of the JCs when that was fashionable, and it was a long time ago, I might add, but that was basically there to teach us to communicate and to get us involved with community, and young farmers is very much the same.
Yeah, it is.
Staircase.
And it's the same sort of values that are in place. You know, we value things like being able to debate, being able to hold a conversation, hold your own across industry. You know, there's loads of meetings that go on around the country for the industry, whether it's Federated Farmers, whether it's Fonterra, whoever it might be. If you've got an opinion, it's a valid one, you need to be able to speak it.
You're up against shyness, because shyness amongst the rural community is very prevalent.
Yep. Yes, it is. And that's why that our club environment needs to be really welcoming, and that fun element to actually start to draw you in. You're right, as a young fella or girl, getting in there and contributing right from the start is pretty daunting. So it takes a bit of time to break those barriers down.
Yeah, once again, you get one of these top guys who will say, I can put up a fence in my sleep, but to do it in front of a whole lot of other people and a judge.
Yeah, that's right. And like one of the challenges in the grand final is you've got to give a speech, and it's a 2-minute speech on a subject that's just given to you, not too much before the evening, and you've got to deliver that to 400 guests, which will include cabinet ministers and MPs, etc. So it's a pretty high-powered room. Yeah, you've got to be able to perform.
But that's, and I want to stress, that's at the very top. The
Sure.
people who are coming in at the bottom don't have to worry about that. They can just
absolutely.
They can have a few drinks and
Absolutely, and you can ease yourself in. You get out of it what you put in. So if you're just happy just to meet people, and have it as a social network, great. Young Farmers is definitely for you. It's all those other things, if you want them, that become valuable.
So let's go for the, I want to keep coming on back to this, to the little person who's probably from overseas, got a language barrier to a degree, probably doesn't have much in the way of transport. How do they sort of fit in? Yeah,
so our clubs are always trying to get new members, and if it means actually going, picking them up, bringing them to the meeting that particular night, they do that. We've got club chairs now who are first generation New Zealanders, let us say.
Yep. No, that's, thank you, because that's exactly what I'm driving at.
Yeah, and yes, they speak with an accent, and it can be a little bit slow, but we're very inclusive and trying to get more people to actually understand that to embed themselves in society is going to help them in terms of their career. Whether they're here for a season or they're here for the long haul, there's some real value.
Terry, do you find that the employers are helping your cause by saying, listen, you've been sitting in your accommodation 7 nights a week, let's get you into Young Farmers?
Yes, in fact we're about to initiate a project with Dairy NZ and Federated Farmers around this whole well-being of farm employees, and part of that is to support them into a network like New Zealand Young Farmers.
And of course you've got contact with everybody because you're going to be telling everybody about On the Land and the fact we've interviewed the top 7 finalists.
Absolutely.
Because how competitive is it as far as individuals, but also as far as the regions? I mean, they're representing the Tasman region, for example.
That's right.
Yay!
Yeah. So, and that rural and regional passion definitely comes through, and they bring their supporters with them. So at grand final it gets very loud, particularly on the practical day where you're actually cheering these guys on to try and do their best, and they're carrying their region on their back. There's no doubt about that.
That adds a lot of pressure to them.
Yeah, it does.
You know, I mean, it's sort of like playing for the Crusaders.
Yeah. Yep. As it should.
As it should. Got websites, you've got a lot of support systems, if you can be as shy as you want to, but you'll be able to one-on-one and get involved.
Yeah, and the really cool thing is now we're getting our sort of high school club age group transferring as they get a bit older into Young Farmers. They're actually getting that sociability, being able to talk a lot earlier, so they're actually not starting from fresh from 18 or 19, which is really refreshing to see in the club situation. But yeah, it's a dynamic place to be.
And bottom line is that's our next generation of politicians, of Federated Farmers leaders.
Absolutely.
Rural women, New Zealand.
Yep, most definitely.
Brilliant, Terry. Thank you very much, and good luck for the final. It sounds as though it's going to be very, very exciting.
Yeah, thanks, Rob.